Today we have a very special guest and a good friend of mine. We have Sláva Nnajike. Slava has been a raw vegan for the last 8 years. She's also gone through two raw vegan pregnancies, which is incredible, and she helps many, many people in this space. In addition to that, she is just such a light and has such good energy. And I'm very much looking forward to today's interview. So, Slava, appreciate you being on. How you going?
Hi, Tom. I'm really grateful for this opportunity to share informations and experiences with people. I truly feel that it's so important that we share our journeys with others. So yeah, thank you for inviting me, and I'm looking forward to our little talk.
Amazing. So, starting out, what was it like for you 8 years ago? So, you started this journey. What made you get into it, and what was it like for you back then?
Okay, so let's start it. My journey, not only raw vegan, but journey of awakening, my spiritual journey. It all started with my first labor that happened to be in a hospital. I went there physically fit, emotionally stable, mentally prepared, like no fears. I don't have a fear of pain and things like that. So basically, I did not expect anything bad to happen. But it ended up to be a very traumatic experience because of the medical system that we have. A lot of interventions, unnecessary interventions from the beginning, which led to other interventions and other interventions, and labor was basically physically, emotionally, mentally, very, very traumatic experience. It took me like a
Mm.
year and a half to get over it, mostly
Jeez.
emotionally. Yeah, because I was like, I went there, I trusted those people that they are there to help, to navigate in case something goes wrong. But their approach was completely different. So I started digging into this like medical system, how it works, why it works the way it works, right? And I started
Mm.
doubting that they are there to actually help us. And
Mm.
um, people around me, what was like the worst thing about it was that people around me kept telling me that it's normal. This is the way it is. But deep down,
Mm.
deep inside of me, I knew that it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be
Mm.
painful. It doesn't have to be traumatic. It doesn't have to be treated like a piece of meat somewhere at the slaughterhouse. So eventually, I started looking for the ways to take responsibility for my own health, for my own body, for my
Mm.
whole, like, overall well-being. And I started reading a lot of literature, like spiritual literature about raw food and things like that. I tried, before I went raw vegan, I even tried like a little bit different approaches, for example, like Ayurvedic advices, which made things even worse. And yeah, I would like to
Yeah.
say before this happened, I was considered to be a healthy person, even though I was not feeling comfortable in this body because I used to have migraines, headaches, tooth cavities. My hair
Mm.
wouldn't grow just like to this length, so I used to wear extensions. I used to suffer from heartburns, chronic fatigue, and a lot of things that made me really, really uncomfortable in this body. But everybody around me was worse.
Mm.
So I was considered to be like, you are okay.
Mm.
Like, what are you complaining about? So, yeah, after this experience in the hospital, I started reading and listening to podcasts, everything. I was sucking the informations. I still tried the Ayurvedic approach, which caused me even worse health issues. Like my hair started falling off, even more cavities, etc. So I was like, no, no, this is not the way for me. And eventually I felt this
Mm.
calling to go raw, to eat just fruits, for example. But at that time, I still had a lot of limiting beliefs installed from the childhood about we need proteins, we need, if not animal products, we need to eat at least, I don't know, tofu or cooked beans or whatever.
Mm.
But then I saw few people online, and then I realized also that there is like one fruitarian in my own city. And I thought to myself, if these people can do it, why couldn't I? Right? So I went
Why
cold
can't I?
turkey.
Yeah.
I went cold turkey and I studied eating just fruits for like a couple of weeks. Then I eventually incorporated also like nuts and seeds, etc. But this first week,
Was it winter
or
for you then?
sorry,
Was it winter for you then, like when you started having fruits, or was it more so leading
it
into
was
summer?
it was like an autumn probably. And no, it
Okay.
was
Yeah.
actually no, yeah, it was like an autumn, so it was not so cold.
Mm,
But
mm,
I experienced for like the first week, I experienced terrible headache. The detox was very strong. I was just taking warm baths. But after that week, things started getting better physically, emotionally,
mm,
mentally, and spiritually. I'm sure you have more questions, but this was like the beginning of my journey. Traumatic experience in the hospital, which led me to doubt
mm,
the medical system and doctors and um, basically giving responsibility for my own body to someone else. That's how would I call
mm.
it. I was not feeling comfortable with that anymore.
And it's very easy to blame these days. So how did you, just intuitively did you know? How did you know to take full responsibility and accountability and seek like you did?
As I told you, I didn't let the environment to affect me and to tell me this is normal, this is how labor should be, this is
Mm,
what every woman around you experienced and will keep experiencing because this is the way it is. So I kept turning inwards. I kept thinking about it. I kept asking questions myself, the universe, God, call it however you want to call it.
mm,
And eventually, after really like I was suffering physically and mentally for like a year and a half, but I was
mm,
not willing to stop this digging into like what really happened. And I was begging to like to get some insights about it, like what really happened. And one day I realized that I cannot blame the doctors because I was the one who went there. And since that
mm,
moment, I started taking the responsibility. When I realized, when I switched the perception from being a victim, oh, what they did to me, and a terrible thing happened, and I don't know how to deal with it, to you were the one who went there. They did what they did, but only with your approval, because nothing in this life happens without our approval, whether we
mm.
are aware of it or not, but that's the way it is. And since then, I could really start working on myself, if that makes sense.
That takes a lot. Yeah, it takes a lot of courage to have and the strength to question things like that. That's really the norm, like the status quo, to question those things. And furthermore, to take responsibility. I'm sure a lot of us experience, especially on this journey, I certainly have, rather than blaming my health and this, it was my parents and that, just looking inwards because we can change it. We just got to be asking those questions and take the courage. And you did that, which is amazing. So then what was it like from that point on? So you're reading, you're researching, you're seeking more, and you start to get better. So what did that look like?
Yes. So at first, it looks like something I call that our mind is hungry at the beginning of our journey. Our mind is very hungry once you realize, like when I realized that I was actually living in so many lies, not only the medical system, but the food, the relationships, uh, because when you uncover one piece of puzzle, everything else will start falling,
Mm.
falling off, falling apart, right? And that's why a lot of people don't go raw vegan because unconsciously or subconsciously they know that if they uncover this one lie, that we don't need to eat cooked food and animal products, etc., a lot of things will change in their life. They know it, their soul know it, their spirit know it. So that's why they rather don't do it at all. Um, yeah, so, but after I realized this thing, I couldn't sleep for like 1 week because every time I went to sleep, I couldn't breathe. I woke up and I was that's because I realized, like fully realized how I was feeling in my life. Like I couldn't
Mm.
breathe in that life. So I started reading, researching, etc. My mind was hungry, hungry, hungry. I wanted to get all the informations at once, which is I see this with a lot of people now that I'm working with people that in the beginning they want to know everything. But the more you learn how to turn inwards, the better, like the faster you learn it, the better for you. Because we all have these informations within us. We don't need to read books, we don't have to follow any influencers, etc. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, especially in the beginning, it's a good thing to kind of confirm that what I feel, like other people feel, and they speak it out loud. They are not afraid of it. So in the beginning, it's great, but we all have the same information within us. So this is what I eventually realized after maybe like a year or two, after reading and
Mm.
researching and everything, that I just have to find my own truth and my own way. That's like mentally. Physically, I can't even compare the way I'm feeling now. I told you already like the things I suffered with. Now, no
Yeah.
headaches, no migraines, like I don't know what headache is since then. No flus, no colds. My hair started growing like like crazy, like it's
Very long, yeah.
to my waist and it keeps growing.
How
Especially women.
quickly did you start to see that happen for your health? Was that in that year and a half that happened, or did it take a little bit longer?
There are some things that took longer and some things that were like instant. As I said, my detox was just the headache. And after that initial headache, I did not experience any headache after. Then I don't know about hair because that's like it's not so easy to say, but I also had things like warts, if I'm pronouncing it correctly,
Yeah,
on my
what?
feet.
Yeah.
Warts, yes. And you know how these things work. Like you go to doctor, they freeze it or dry it or whatever, and then it heals and then it appears again and again again. So this is what was happening to me before. But after I went raw vegan, it took maybe a year and a half to two for those things to heal, but it didn't appear after. So yeah, there are things that can disappear immediately. There are things that take longer. What people don't comprehend, like very well, that if we were destroying our body for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, we cannot expect the results to come in 2 months. It's just not possible. It takes time to heal. But once it heals, it will never come back. Then I things like heartburn, it disappeared constantly, immediately because
Mm.
what is a heartburn? That it's the acids in our stomach, especially if you eat late at night. And I didn't have this knowledge before. I didn't have this information. Just if you want
Yeah.
to avoid heartburn, just don't eat late at night. Don't eat cooked food before going to sleep, right? So when I got this knowledge, this information, things like that stopped immediately. Mm, Even the tatar on my teeth, it stopped. I used to go to dentist like 2 times a year to remove it. And after
Yeah.
I went raw vegan, I thought that the tatar is a cause of drinking coffee. But it's not, because even after I went raw vegan, I was still drinking coffee for like a year, maybe. And the tatar stopped um, appearing on my teeth. Yeah, things like so. Some things were instant, some things were happen like over the time. But what I noticed that I was, what I can say is that I was just more happy with my body, with my life. I put my priorities, I cleaned my environment, or better to say that environment cleaned itself. I mean, toxic people that were around me and toxic relationships. So I was basically living peaceful life. And all of these changes I realized only after some time. Like I was like, hey, I can't remember the last time I had a headache, or I can't remember the last time I had a flu, or things like that were common for me before.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And a lot of people they the curtain like unveils. It's almost like in a movie where you get that big like red or like velvet curtain and it gets pulled back and you see the truth. So you had that experience. How did you continue to go for like a year or a year and a half? Now I know you're 8 years, but that first initial period, getting to a year to 2 years, I know my experience that with that was it was very difficult at the start. And for certainly a lot of people transitioning, it is quite a difficult period. What helped you work through that?
What helped me is that I don't wait. That's like one trait about me that is it's good at one side or the other side is not good. So what I did when I went raw vegan, I sold my flat that I had it in city, and I bought a house in Hungarian village. So I completely isolated myself from the world. I started growing my own fruits, vegetables, going to just I went to the city just once a week, buy
Mm.
fruits and veggies that I couldn't grow myself, and that's it. So I was there in the village
Wow, so you
preparing raw
jumped
food.
straight in. Yeah, you jumped all in.
That's how I operate. Like if I see something, I want to know how it works. Like so, people were thinking that I went crazy, that I'm trying to kill myself. Everything together, going raw, selling the flat, going to the village because it's even in a different state, but the houses there were very cheap and with big lands. We don't have that in Slovakia. Like houses here are very expensive already, but this was like on the border with Slovakia, and these Hungarian villages are too far from Hungarian cities, so it's not interesting for people from Hungary. But for me, it was not so far, and it was very cheap, like very affordable, big land. So yeah, I saw the flats. I went there, and it made easier. It made it easier for me.
Yeah, so one of those things is just fully jumping in and committing, which in my experience, if you're halfway, if you're in the middle ground, you got one foot in, one foot out, it's just not going to happen. You're going to be in a lot of pain, a lot more pain, and likely to revert back. That's what happened to me initially when I tried so many times at the start. So that's unreal. And then after that period, so you're seeing the benefits, you're seeing yourself heal a lot more. When did your second pregnancy happen? Because you've had one horrible experience, and then what did your second pregnancy look like, and when was that?
Yeah, that was when I was on a raw food for maybe like a year and a half when I got pregnant with my partner at that time because as I already mentioned, I um left everything I used to live before, including my ex-husband, right, and everything. So it was like maybe 2 years after. And the pregnancy was just amazing, considering the fact that, and even the first pregnancy was not bad, right? I didn't have like any pregnancy complications apart from heartburn and swollen legs. So it was not, the pregnancy itself was not a bad experience. It was the labor in the
Okay.
hospital when I
Ah,
decided to
all
give my
right.
responsibility to someone else, right? Uh, and I would like to say that before my first labor, when I was reading articles about women giving birth at home, I was telling to myself, oh, what a horrible person. She's risking her life and the life of the baby, and things like that. But I got a really hot slap from the universe during my first labor. So, my second pregnancy was amazing. As I mentioned, I was living in the village, working in a garden. And once you are physically active during the pregnancy and you eat raw food, there is nothing that can, like, no complication that can happen to you. Mhm.
Incredible.
So this pregnancy eventually led to unassisted birth because I agreed with the doula or midwife that she would come, but then the COVID came and they closed the borders. But at that time, I was already connected to my intuition, and my intuition told me, "Don't worry, it's gonna be okay. You can be by yourself. This is the sign that you are supposed to be by yourself." I was like, "Okay, that's what you
Wow.
think."
So
Yes.
in
So
your own home.
yes, yes. So I gave birth by myself. It was nice, even though it was a little bit um, awkward because it was the first time me uh, delivering the baby by myself.
Mm.
But I was studying a lot of about processes and things like that. My mindset was already okay, so I was more studying about, processes during the labor and um, so yeah, that experience was amazing. And the third one was absolutely terrific. It was I was already prepared for everything, and the third time I knew that I want to be alone. I felt it in the deeper parts of my soul and being that
Mm.
any energy around me is going to disturb me. And you see, for example, horses, even though they are domesticated, when a female horse wants to give birth, she will usually do it at night when no one is at the stable because she doesn't want to be disturbed. And if you come there and you turn on the light and you start, "Oh my God, she's in the labor, come help her. Hey, people, come, more people." The labor will stop. I guarantee you. It will stop. Naturally, it will stop.
Is that because of the stress? Like just with people asking, what's the reason for that?
Yeah, it's basically the nervous system considers these things around as a threat. Like imagine a deer in the nature and she's about to give birth, and then wolves appear out of somewhere or other animals. The labor will
That's what
stop.
they're like in the hospital. But they're like wolves.
Yes, it's strangers. For you, people in the hospital, they are strangers. You don't
Mm.
want to be seen like lights. You don't want to see medical students around you. You just need a calm, peaceful environment, maybe two people that you know, but you don't want this circus around. So when a deer outside in the nature is surrounded by wolves, nature is so intelligent that the labor will stop. The deer doesn't have to think about it. "Oh, I want to stop the labor now because the situation is dangerous." It just stops. And this is what happens in a hospital for 99% of the women and all the labor stories I heard, even though they do not admit it. And in the end of the day, they go and they thank the doctor for saving their lives. But they only save their lives because they caused the situation to be so bad that they have to be saving their lives, if you understand.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So the third one was I was feeling that I want to be alone. I don't want any energy, not even people I know, like nothing. I don't want anyone to talk to me. I don't want anyone to look at me. So the third one, I just closed myself in the room, put on some blankets on the bed, and did my thing. And this
Mm.
one was the most transformative experience of my life because I felt to the fullest that we as women are capable and meant to give birth to kids without pain, without complications. Yeah, it was even like a pleasant experience. After that, I said that I could give birth like every week if it's this way. But
Yeah.
but I do not recommend, I just want to say this, that I do not recommend give birth at home to women. Why? Number one, I don't know anything about their physical health. Me, I've been on raw
Right.
food for 6 years at that time. I knew what was happening in my body. I feel each cell of my body. Um, So I know if something is wrong, if something is off, I can tell like instantly. People are asking me, but who checked you after the labor? And I'm like, no one has to check me. I know what is happening in my body and with my body, right?
Very,
Mm.
very intuitive. Very.
Yeah, but and we women, we have this ability to tune into this ourselves. But the system tells us that we don't. We have to go to the
Mm.
hospital. But if you talk to grandmothers, they were giving birth at home, right? The midwife was the best they could
Yeah,
have.
that's true. Mm.
But currently, like last 40, 50 years, they were forced to start giving birth in a hospital. And that's another topic because how you come into this world affects your whole lifetime. And if you
Mm.
come to this world in a peaceful, calm environment, you bond with your mother, skin on skin. The only person you see is maybe your father or the midwife. Um, no stress, no lights, no measurements and like check-ins and vaccinations and all of these things. People think that babies like newborns, they don't feel it. Oh, they feel it pretty well. Like my babies
Mm.
didn't cry after the labor. They didn't because there was no reason.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
babies don't cry. The thing they show us in the movies, like the baby is born and instantly, "Ah!"
Yeah, it's
Why?
like
Because,
every, yeah, yeah.
yeah, because someone else, and also the women in labor. When I'm seeing the labors in the movies, it's like the programming is terrible to women. They are seeing these things in the movie from like even my kids, like they're small, and if they see a labor in the movie, it's always painful, a lot of blood, a lot of
Yeah,
complications.
that's what you'd expect. Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be like that. Yeah, but back to the thing I wanted to say, I don't recommend it because most women are not in a physical condition and also in a mental state to do it by themselves, right? I'm
Mm.
just saying that it's possible for us and it can be, it really brought the power to me to the fullest, even before I was,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, that's significant change. Like that's a complete 180 of change from like your first experience compared to at 6 years. Certainly at 6 years. It's almost like you've had every tier. The first experience, which really wasn't particularly great, more so the labor experience, and then a year and a half being raw, then 6 years down the track as well. Um, and I do know that you help people specifically in that space to look more inwards and to become more intuitive. And that's very interesting. That's what I'm going to get into now regarding your kids. So, how has that journey been with your kids growing up also raw vegan? That's very intriguing to a lot of people. And that's great. It's incredible.
And very natural. Because once you go raw vegan and you understand fully and you feel it, that this is because some people go raw vegan because they heard it somewhere and they have a cancer or whatever, they don't feel it from within. But once you feel it, you have this calling and you understand also mentally that Jesus, this is our species specific diet. You don't want to feed your kids something else. Like, why would you do that?
Mm.
That's why these my all younger girls, they were raised on the raw foods since their birth. Yeah, I they were exclusively breastfed for like 6 months, and then eventually when they started showing interest in food, I started giving them a little bit of juice, a little bit of nut milk, just things to taste in the beginning, so their taste buds and their microbiome get used to digesting this type of food. Because what happens when we start feeding our infants, our kids? We are basically building their microbiome. That's why if we feed them wrong in the first 2, 3 years, this is why a lot of people ask me, don't you think that they will eventually start eating like normal people? And I say, well, it might happen, but it's going to be so hard for them because their microbiome is not used to be digesting those type of things. So when they eat it, they feel the difference like immediately for them. So most people do this mistake. They will say, but my kid, they only want to eat, I don't know, pasta with ketchup or whatever, and they will feed them with these things. And at the age of 5, they will tell me that, but my kid, like, she just won't eat vegetables. She just won't eat fruits. Yes, it's very understandable. But you, as a parent, you are responsible. And what I do sometimes, let's say that, okay, they like 7 different type of fruits, and I only have 3 types because we are yet to go to the store. And they will start demanding for the fourth one. I will not run to the store and buy them. I will tell them, hey, it's either you eat this or you don't eat,
Mm.
right? And this is what parents struggle to do. Like, no, I'm sorry, I will not give you pasta. It's not good for you. I will shred an um, apple for you, or I will prepare a good salad. We can prepare it together. You know, it's like
Yeah, you
I
still
keep.
you so you guide them, but it's almost like, look, I'm not a parent, so but it's almost like setting those boundaries for them as well. Like you want the best naturally, I would imagine you want the best for your kids. We want the best for our families, absolutely. So you're setting healthy boundaries there. Am I correct with that? Because I don't have
Yeah,
kids, so I'm just um, saying.
exactly. I keep telling people that it's just the same like with would you allow them at the age of 2 to drink alcohol? No,
There
you
we go. No
wouldn't.
way.
But you know that the bread is not good for them, that white bread, especially,
Mm.
those things. It's not good for them, but you allow them because they won't eat anything else. But who is the parent there? Who?
Also sweets as well, like lollies and like things like that. Like at such a young age.
Terrible. Like the other day we were at the playground and 2 kids said that they are going to buy a water. And they came back from the store and they had like Fanta, then a gummy bears, and like energy drink or something. And I asked them, "Where's the water?" Right? And they were looking at me like, "What am like? What are you trying to say?" Right?
Yeah.
So my kids, I am not a dictator. I allow them to try. When we go to the playground and kids are sharing things, I always make sure that we bring our things to share. Fruits like, I don't know, blueberries. Kids love blueberries, strawberries, and seasonal fruits like mulberries, etc. Or even I cut watermelon. So we always have what to share. And other kids are very excited about that. But if my kids ask, hey, can I eat this sweet? I'm like, okay, just take one, please. Okay, don't eat more. You can try it, but or when other kids are eating ice creams or popsicles, I buy for my kids like a fruit popsicle. It's not the best thing because it's processed and there is a sugar in it,
Yeah.
right? But they eat it like once a week, once in a 2 weeks during the summer. So I allow them to be social. But we usually prepare ice cream at home from frozen bananas. They love it. They know themselves that it tastes better than those things from
Mm.
the store. But if we are around other 10 kids and all of them are going to buy popsicles, I'm not going to be like, no, like you won't have anything because we are raw vegans. Come on, I always look for the less evil option, let's say.
Mm.
And
Mm.
that's what we. But at home, they know that at home they don't find anything like that when they adapt it. They accepted that as a reality.
And that's very rare. I just know how I was raised from what I see. It's extremely rare. And from birth, especially two of your kids, and then for most of their lives, it's been raw food and their microbiome has transitioned to that. That is so different to like 95% of people, probably more of like how they're brought up. I know how I was brought up, and hence why me switching over to vegan and then raw vegan initially was such a hard task. Mentally, I was very addicted to foods, extremely addicted. But though that addiction also came with the cravings, which also came from my microbiome too. A lot of people don't realize that. So that's unreal. And then, so what are do they like request? foods because they would also be intuitive. You've taught them from a very young age, and they see you to be intuitive in that way of what they're actually wanting to eat.
Yes, very intuitive. For example, one of them likes per what is can you help me with the name? I used to call it permission fruit, but it's not persimmon fruit.
Oh,
Like we
persimmon. Yeah. Yeah.
yes. So we have there is a if a wipe. Just a second. Wipe and take gachki and ask Euka
Oh,
to put it
good.
on. Okay? She will help you. So we have a season of persimmon. One of them likes it, and she can eat 10 of them a day, and the other one doesn't like it. She will ask me for blueberries or what does she like? Mango, apples. So they know what they know what they need. If I um, if I prepare, I don't really prepare salads and things like this anymore. It was in the beginning, just like you said, you were dealing with cravings. For me, it was mostly mental cravings, like a lot of memories coming back, this food and this food. So I was experimenting a lot with raw food and
Mm.
recipes. But eventually I simplified my diet to the point that I usually eat like mono-style dish, meaning one fruit at a time. Or when I eat sprouts, I just eat sprouts. I don't really enjoy mixing it with other things. Like a lot of raw vegans prepare these huge salads with a lot of ingredients. It's not appealing for me. So what I do is
Mm.
that I cut cucumber, I cut tomatoes, I put sprouts. I don't mix it. I just put it on a plate, and kids they take what they feel they need. One day, one of them will take sprouts, and the other day she will take cucumbers. So yeah, very intuitive. And also, what I teach them is mm, kind of to live with the nature, to live with the flow of nature, with the flow of the universe. So when, for example, now it's winter, so it's not possible, but from the beginning of the spring and during the summer, I teach them how and where to find fruit trees around our area, right? That's
That's
amazing experience.
that's unreal.
Yeah, kids love it. And you know what? That there is a tree in the middle of the city center, for example, and no one is eating the fruits. Like this last summer, we were eating mulberries in the historical city center. There are three mulberry trees, and we were eating the mulberries, and people were stopping like, "Is this edible?" And I'm like, "Yes, sure, go ahead and eat. Just leave something for us, right?" And they started eating, and the way they were eating it as if it was going to poison them. But they don't mind going to the supermarket and buy like a processed food and eat it. They will eat it peacefully. And I know I've been there, right? But uh, the more I tune into myself and the nature and the universe and everything, the more I feel connected to the food that is actually food that is outside. So this is what I teach kids as well. You don't have to grow it yourself. You just walk around and find your food.
Yeah, and it's very simple too. These are like really simple. It's not always easy though, but simple. Very simple fruits, very simple vegetable sprouts and things of that nature. But yeah, giving them that experience at such an early age, it's that's so valuable. Yeah,
That's
that's a
why
lot. Thank you. Sorry,
that's
yeah,
why I
go.
yeah, sorry. That's why I feel that it's so important to have a mentor, a guide in the beginning of your journey. Because when you are doing it alone, it's very difficult to navigate a lot of situations. But now I know, yes, I acted somehow at that time. But I know now, after a lot of inner work, that I could have acted differently, and also people around me would have responded differently. Because what I realize is that when we are more aware of things, we can manipulate people in a good way. Not like we don't want them to do anything bad, just to react to our lifestyle differently. So this is something that a good coach, good mentor can help you with as well. Not only to give you recipes or tell you how to sprout, you know.
And that is a lot deeper level of helping someone because it's very much the case that it's not just about eating. It's just the raw food aspect, the food component of it. There's much deeper layers to it. And I've found this for myself, absolutely. And is through working with others, there's much deeper layers. And I'm sure with helping people, you get to uncover that and then you guide them and coach to that. And some people, maybe the position they're in, maybe they have to find that out for themselves, you know. And I'm sure you've done a lot of that on your journey too.
Yeah, and working with someone who did it already, who walked that path and who had the knowledge and experiences can shorten the transition period from, like,
Mm.
for example, it got me, let's say, 6 years to get to the point where I know what I feel, I know what I want, I know where I'm heading, what I'm doing. It took me 6 years. But with a good mentor, it can take you 1 year. You don't have to struggle for six. This is what I
Mm,
realized, and
mm.
I started investing into myself as well, to work with coaches when it comes to my online business. You know,
Yeah, that's very valuable insight, Slava. Extremely, and I can relate to that a lot as well. I've done the exact same thing, going through that process. And did your kids, I'm curious, did they get sick when they were young? Like within that first year or even first 2 years? Because a lot of kids get sick, and especially when they go to childcares and that, and then they come back, they're always sick. And it's like a it's like a breeding ground of sickness.
first of all, I don't consider kindergartens and things like that to be, especially from the as young as 3 years. It's not a good thing for kids. They are very influence. Um, they can
Easily
be influenced.
influenced. Yeah, like daycare from a very young age.
Yes, you are basically giving away the responsibility for your kids to someone else, like to a complete stranger. I started sending this my older one to kindergarten this September. She's 5. She's very grounded in her opinions. She's very social, and she loves it there. But I pack her own food, and I know that she is already um, and I plan to homeschool her, and when she is supposed to go to school, I will probably do that. But now she is the last year of the kindergarten that is mandatory in our in my country. So
Mm.
it's either I start homeschooling her, but currently where we live, there is no like homeschooling community. So she would be basically like separated from other kids. So I decided, you know what? We will try. She went to kindergarten. I pack her own food, like fruits, vegetables. But she's already like, I keep saying that she's like a small Rovigan coach already. She's very cute. She keeps preaching to people. It's not like they can influence her. She's actually the one preaching to everybody.
That's
Um,
so cute and incredible at the same time.
yeah, but from the age of 3, if it's possible, like anyhow possible, don't send them to kindergartens. But yes, it definitely helps if kids are raw vegans. Like my kids, they have like runny nose. That's the worst thing they experienced during their lifetime. Runny nose, 2 times a year. Even now, they had like a flu holiday in the kindergarten because all the kids were sick and my kid was not. Like
Wow.
they did not experience something like fever or I don't know, you know, uh, just like when I was small, lying in the bed, feeling terrible, having fever, um, runny nose, sore throat, heartburn, everything at the same time. You just don't feel like moving at all. They don't have anything like that. The only thing is runny nose, and that's basically like a cleaning process of our body when it needs to release something. So they have runny nose for 3 days. That's all.
I'm sure every parent out there Not that I speak for any parents, I'm not even one of them myself, but I'm absolutely positive that if your kid just gets a runny nose in comparison to everything that else happened, especially when I was a kid as well, in comparison to what was happening to me when I was a little kid, that is a miracle. That's a miracle.
And it's actually natural. That's the best part of it, that we are
Yeah,
not
it's the
meant to
most
be
unreal
sick. We
thing.
are not meant to suffer. Not physically, not emotionally, not mentally. All the suffering we are causing it to ourselves. We are the one
Yeah.
causing it. Yes, the other day I had this conversation with my friend, and we were talking about kids that are born sick, right? With leukemia, for example, or whatever. And she was like, "Yes, but they were born already that way." And I'm like, "Yes, but who is responsible?" Again, back to the topic. Who is responsible for their kid being like born with a disease already? What was the mother doing during the pregnancy, right? So it's not like it might not affect you, but it can affect your kids. I know a lot of I know some people that were abusing like a lot of substances where they were young, and then their kids were born disabled, and now they are raising money, asking people for help. And I'm not against helping people, right? But the step number
Mm.
one is to realize what I did. Like I was destroying my body for 30 years, and then I think that I will give a birth to a healthy baby. And it's not only about women, it's about men as well, because you are giving the half of the information,
Absolutely.
right?
Mm.
So even for everybody who is thinking about or planning to have a child, take a fast, go raw vegan, and do it after. Yeah. Half year being raw vegan, few water or juice fast, your body will be clean, and you will be sure that nothing wrong is going to happen with your baby. You will have the responsibility for it.
Yeah, and definitely seek guidance and support. Absolutely. With all those things. That's incredible, Slava. What a story. What a there's so many things that you've talked about. There's so many revelations, ones that I've had, and I don't have kids, but there's ones that I've had on this journey as well. And I believe this brings this journey being raw, tapping in more spiritually, brings it out of you in a very good way. Yes, it can be extremely confronting for some people and a lot of people. It's also enlightening as well. Like I'm sure when you started this journey, you felt lighter, like things, weight had lifted off. Because that's how I experienced. Not at the start. At the start, I was going crazy in my mind. Uh, After that, though, things started to be a lot calmer and weight lifted off. Thank you so much for today. So valuable. I really appreciate it. And before we wrap up, let people know what you're doing, how they can get in contact you, anything you want to plug at the moment. I know you have Facebook, Instagram, and all that. Please let my audience know and anyone who watches.
Yes, so I mostly use Facebook for my online support to people. You will put my name in the description because it's
Yeah, I'll
pronounced
put
Slava.
all the links down below.
So it's a little bit tricky. My name is a little bit tricky, but when you go to my profile, you see my stand store where I offer just one-on-one consultation for people, where when I go through their specific situation and give them personalized insights, because I am very intuitive coach. Most of my clients know already. I give insights tailored from those people for those people that you can't find anywhere else. So what I offer is one-on-one consultation. I'm also working on my ebooks that are going to be called Detox of Body and Detox of the Soul. So it's going to be very, very interesting. And
Hmm.
I currently work with Shane Sterling in his project Raw Vegan Rising, and I lead the program called Gut Health Rehab, which is meant to restore the microbiome after the juice fast. But the truth is that we have participants in every situation you can imagine. after the juice
Mm.
fast, before the juice fast, been raw vegans for 2 years, want to know more about raw vegans. Um, so yeah, we can also put the link there. We are starting on December 1st. So if anyone is interested, this is like a 6-week journey, very affordable for the private coaching. So you can check the
Mm.
link for gut rehab as well. And what I'm really excited about is just things we discussed, and that's gonna be making community for raw vegan pregnancies and raising kids being raw vegan. This is a project I'm currently working on.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
but
incredible, Slava. That's so exciting.
this is something that I feel is missing because there are a lot of raw vegan communities and fruitarian communities, but to be like focused on pregnancies and breastfeeding and all of these things, this is something that is missing. A lot of people approach me with this specific thing. Yeah, so this is what I'm working on. Just that my time is limited, so I'm doing my best. I wish I could deliver it tomorrow, but maybe within a month or two it will be ready.
Yeah,
And
raising your kids as well, living your life, living it.
but there is one thing that is really nice. They see that I help people go raw vegan during my, I'm usually like I connect to Zoom calls and I help people and they like it, right? So they are trying to copy it, and that's why the older one is behaving like a raw vegan coach outside. Very cute. The other day we were at the playground and a lady said to her son that, "Hey, come on, we have to go home. I need to cook." And my girl approached her and she was like, "Don't you have some fruits at home?" And the lady was like,
Oh my
"Well, we have
goodness.
watermelon." And my girl said, "Then just eat the watermelon. Don't leave the playground. Yeah, come on, you don't have to cook." So that was so cute.
He is
Also,
like a real vegan
one
preacher.
more one more insight from my 5 years old. One day she asked me, "Hey, ma'am, why did I choose the parents that I did?" And I told her, "Who told you that you were the one who chose your parents before you came here?" And she looked at me and said, "No one has to tell me. I know it." Right? So
Mm.
she is already born with this awareness, like no victim mentality. She knows at the 5 years that she is the one who chose her parents. So no, she's not going to be traumatized when she grows up that, oh, my parents did this to me or that, because she already knows that she is the one who chose them. Yeah, but that's another level of our journey.
Yeah, but it's
So
certainly it is so inspiring, Slava. For one, for me who doesn't have kids, that's looking to take that journey with my own family in the next couple of years. And then for people who do have kids as well, it's extremely inspiring. So thank you a lot for today. This has been amazing. I'll put all the links below. I'll put everything below. And yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
yeah, I was glad to have this little talk with you and to have a nice day, Tom.
Yeah, thank you. Take care, everyone. See ya.